welcome to episode 10 of the second season of Reflections of a Slightly Conscious Being. I'm Sandra, a music artist that is on a journey towards consciousness. I am not a licensed psychologist, therapist, or coach. All information I share here comes from personal experience and doesn't mean to replace any kind of professional help. Today, we're going to talk about letting go in love. I wish I had come up with this expression, but I didn't. This is actually the main sentence that describes one of the Bach flower remedies, chicory to be exact. While I was in therapy, I was introduced to Bach flower remedies. These are natural flower essences that aim to help you deal with emotional blocks and pain. You take 2-3 drops every day, and you can take one floral or up to 7 at a time. Over 2.5 years of therapy, I took different ones in different combinations according to what I was trying to heal. But I just didn't take them. I actually developed my own unique way of taking them that increased the effect substantially. Even my therapist was impressed and congratulated me for coming up with it. So this is what I did. I would buy the essences and then search on the website what was the essence recommended for. And then I would write in the bottle its catch or main sentence, just like the one that's the title of this episode. And then every day when I was taking the essences, I would read the sentences out loud, like affirmations, and then I would take them diluted on a glass of water while thinking about the sentence I just said. And then I would leave the bottles right in front of me on the desk where I was working. And this way, I would look at them over the day, read the sentences and reminding myself of what I was working on. Those sentences became mantras to me.
It's a kind of magic.
They would pop up in my head every time I had negative thoughts, or even when I was just reacting out of old patterns. I was not just taking the medicine and forgetting about it. I was reminding myself constantly of what I was working on. This is actually one hack, one way you can use to remind yourself to remain conscious. Affirmations per se don't work alone. Of course, you always have to back up your intentions with actions. It's not just affirm and then expect things to fall from the sky. But while using as a combination, as a reminder of what you are striving for, what is your goal, what you want to achieve in this life, affirmations can result really well. So I already mentioned many times the immense power of our brains. I also mentioned that we can harness this power by choosing to redirect our focus and attention to what we want or who we want to be.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
This is what I was doing, basically. And of course, it's what you can do too. Honestly, I don't even know what worked more, and I don't even care. I don't know if it was the remedy itself or my focus in what I was trying to heal. All I know is that it did work. I did feel an improvement. I feel that everyone around me also noticed that. And that's what matters, right? It doesn't matter what worked per se. All it matters is that it worked. Nowadays, I still go back to those remedies sometimes and read the sentences. I absolutely love the synchronicities, and we talked about synchronicities. Synchronicities are coincidences that are just too big and too significant to be considered only coincidences. I love the synchronicities about the plants they represent, what they heal, and the actual presence of those plants in my life. I've talked before about generational trauma, about how each of us carry our family heritage in terms of hurt, pain, and emotional blocks and patterns that turn out to be cyclic patterns or roadblocks that keep popping up in our lives. These are also called karma. When I read the book, The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, I was absolutely fascinated by the way the author explained this. It's a fictional book, but over the fictional book, you follow the spiritual path of the main character. And the book has this premise that these old Mayan scripts were found and the government was trying to cover them. And so the main character was trying to find them together with other people and reveal them to the world because they were full of wisdom. And they contained 12 insights. I believe in the first book they mention 9, and then there are other 2 books that focus on the last 3, if I'm not mistaken. I know they split up the insights between books. This book is a spiritual journey, and one of the learnings the main character makes is that we choose our parents, in part because what we come to do here in our physical lives is to continue our parents' path or our parents' evolutional journey. This means that our path is a continuation of both our parents' path combined. This explains why most of us tend to replicate the patterns we saw our parents do, both individually and even in terms of relationship with each other. We all know someone who married someone that looked exactly like he's her mother or father, right? I mean, and the funniest thing is everybody can see it, but they cannot see it, right? And sometimes it's so obvious because even the physical resemblance is there. Well, this is because they can't see it because most of these patterns are unconscious. It takes awareness and work to bring them to surface. When I was doing this work, and I still am, of course, but when I was starting, I found out the floral that defined the maternal and paternal main learnings or blocks of my family. So I found out that for my male side, my father's side, it was pine. And for my feminine side or my mother's side of the family, it was aspen. Now comes the interesting part. My paternal family house, where I live now, has a really old pine tree near it. Everyone in the family absolutely loves that pine tree. Coincidence? I think not. Now, what about the maternal family home? That's the apartment I grew up in up until I was 5. It's located on a street that had, I kid you not, aspen trees. I assure you, I only made these associations later, and after I had discovered my main family learnings about the aspen trees. I didn't even know they were called aspen trees in English. I only knew the Portuguese name for them. So what about, these are the individual learnings from our mothers and our fathers, but what about our combined learnings? Well, pine is about guilt, about having compassion for ourselves, for people who always feel that they could have done or they should have done better. It's about living in the past and not being able to let go. It represents inner forgiveness, self-worth, and strength. Because in the end, it's our past learnings that makes us stronger today, right? Aspen is about fear, anxiety for the future, apprehensions that consume our minds and block our actions. It's about worrying too much about the future and not being able to act in the present because, well, the future is so scary, right? But it represents inner peace, security, and assurance of heart and mind. Cool stuff, right? So my dad worries too much about the past and my mom worries too much about the future. No wonder I get stuck so much. My main tendency is to worry about both.
Marty! You've got to come back with me! Where? Back to the future!
This brings me to today's theme, which is my current floral and mantra. Chicory is a beautiful flower. It's a wild flower that is flowering now here in Portugal. It's everywhere in the fields. It grows in the wild and it's very easy to identify, very easy to find because it has this unique blue color. But it also has other varieties of or mutations. So far, I've encountered pink mutations and white variations. What does it represent? It represents unconditional love. to love without expecting anything in return, to care for the ones you love without becoming manipulative or overprotective, because true love is also about respecting other people's freedom of expression. For me, the sentence is let go. That's my main sentence, and that's the sentence I have written on my chicory bottle. And this is let go of what? Let go of expectations. Let go of what we think it's right for others. Who are you to know best, right? But also to let go of what we think people should do or what people should say. And this is true love. This is unconditional love, to love others as they are, to accept others as they are, but also, and this is the hardest part, do the same for ourselves. I love myself for who I am today. I give and love without expectations, but I also give and love respecting myself first and foremost. While observing chicory's color mutations, the following sentences formed in my mind. So for the blue one, which is the most common one, I chose the sentence, let go in love. For pink, I haven't seen pink lately, but I've seen pink grow right in front of my old house's porch. And I've never seen, it was the first time I saw a pink variation of chicory, so it was very, very strong for me. And for me, pink is let go in respect. And then there's the white variation, which it's more common than the pink one. And for the white one, it's obvious for me that it's let go in peace.
Let it go, let it go.
So this is my individual learning. With my dad, I am reminded to let go of my past, to let go of my mistakes, of what could have been, of actions or words of the past that no longer represent who I am today. These can be actions or words that I'm not proud of, but I let go. You know, I just accept things were as they were. And my past version doesn't represent who I am today, but that doesn't mean that I deny it, all right? It just means that I accept it for what it was, but I don't hide under it, all right? I am reminded of the importance of forgiveness, because true forgiveness is letting go, right? With my mom, I am reminded to let go of my fears about the future, to let go of expectations of myself or others. And this is what causes frustration, of course. Letting go of future scenarios that maybe will never happen. To not worry too much. And I am reminded as well of how fear can block our actions in the present and prevents us from realizing our true potentials.
You got the gift, but it looks like you're waiting for something.
So, is it possible to let go in love, in respect, and in peace? Of course, but only in the measure that you can do it with yourself. Learn to love yourself as you are, and you'll learn to love others for what they are. Learn to respect yourself, your needs and wants, to set healthy boundaries, to say no, and you'll learn to respect others the same way. Learn to let go of resentment, of grudges, old grudges, of coulda, shoulda, would have beens, and you'll learn to forgive and to accept others for what they are. And this is definitely one of my main learnings, all right? If you heal yourself and you start taking accountability, the rest just comes naturally. Truth is, we cannot see past our own limitations.
We can never see past the choices we don't understand.
We just have a tendency of projecting our own limitations toward people all around us, being our romantic partners, our family, friends, and even people who cross our paths in the streets. It's amazing how we tend to attract people that mirror what we have inside. The closer the relationship and the closer you are with a person, the more these issues arise. Why? Because we tend to get comfortable, right? We get more comfortable with people that are closer to us. Those people also get comfortable with us. And we start, when we get comfortable, it's easy for us to act unconsciously and to fall back into unconsciousness. And then, of course, autopilot takes over and our old patterns emerge. Awareness begins when we begin to take ownership for our emotions and for our own feelings and stop blaming others for them. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it's it's a bit shorter of what I've been doing. I want to invite you, if you were expecting for more 10 minutes, use those 10 minutes to think about, everything I said and how this can apply in your life. That's my challenge for you today. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to put a like, please. Smash the like button. Subscribe my channel if you haven't already. Share this video if you have someone that you thought while you were watching, oh my gosh, that person, this makes so much sense to that person. Send it to that person. All right. Even if she or he doesn't watch it, it doesn't matter. At least you followed your own instincts, you follow your own intuition, and you try to help someone. And also leave comments. All that, I'm always here to listen, and I love to receive your comments and suggestions. If you want to get more in touch more personally, send me an email. I'm at mail@sandralorenco.pt. All right, see you next week. Take care.